The unanimous decision by the justices set a strong precedent in digital privacy rights. The ruling stems from an attempted murder case in San Diego that resulted in a 15-year life conviction for David Leon Riley. Here to help put this landmark ruling into context are law professor Alex KREIT and Pat Ford, David Riley's attorney. Welcome.
Thanks, Peggy.
Pat, remind us about Riley's case and how it got to the Supreme Court.
Right. Well, David was convicted of attempted murder and shooting at a vehicle, as well as the state added a gang enhancement, which gave him the life sentence. They said that the shooting had been committed for the benefit of a gang. But the evidence that they used at the trial was largely taken from a search following the stop, a search of his cell phone. And so he was stopped for expired registration tags. The police then determined that his driver's license had been suspended, and they ultimately searched his phone. And he was convicted of the offenses, and we challenged the convictions in the Court of Appeal.
Does David know about the ruling?
David knows about the ruling, but we weren't able to speak. I called him as soon as I read the opinion today at the prison, but unfortunately, he's on lockdown status, which means he can't take phone calls. But the litigation coordinator was excited about the ruling and promised to deliver a message in big letters saying that we won. And so I'm quite sure he's on cloud nine right now.
When you say lockdown, just to be clear, that's not just him, it's his cell block.
Right. There was some problem within the cell block, and so they prevent everybody from phone communication.
Okay. And Alex, the Obama administration and the state of California argued that warrantless searches were routinely take place at the time of arrest. What can police search for legally when they arrest you?
Yeah, well, you know, the Supreme Court has said for a long time that when you're arrested, the police can search anything on your possession, you know, so they can look through your pockets, see what's in your wallet, that sort of thing. And the issue in this case was, how do you apply that old rule to new technology? And the U.S. Supreme Court said, we're going to treat cell phones differently. And the reason really is because cell phones contain so much information. If you think about what you have on your phone, all the photos, all the emails, all the personal documents, the court said it's a much greater intrusion to let the police look through all of that without a warrant than it is to let the police look through your wallet without a warrant.
Okay. And what do you think, and I'll start with you, Alex, the implications of this ruling are for police investigations?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is probably not going to do too much to hamper police investigations, honestly, because in a lot of these cases, the police will be able to get a warrant. So I think it's just a matter of saying they've got to go through that extra hurdle to let a court know to go through that process and say, here's why we think there's some evidence of a crime on a cell phone. Probably the biggest impact is, frankly, in instances where maybe you're pulled over, arrested for some driving offense, the police aren't going to be able to look through a phone and go through, what some might say is a fishing expedition.
Well, Pat, along those same lines, the implications on this, is it difficult to get a warrant if you're a police officer and you have a suspicion that you need to search somebody's cell phone?
Yeah, that's why the implications won't be that great, because it's not hard to get a search warrant now, and they can apply in minutes, within an hour perhaps. They can go ahead and apply to a magistrate for a warrant, which will authorize the search, and it'll tell them exactly what they can do.
What's next for David Riley? Will his conviction be reversed, or will he have a new trial because of this decision today?
Right. Well, the ultimate goal is to get him a new trial. And in order to reverse a conviction, two things have to happen. First, a court has to determine that there was a constitutional violation. That happened today. And second, another court is going to have to make a decision as to whether or not the constitutional violation was significant, whether it made a big impact on his trial. So the Supreme Court will send the case back to the California Court of Appeal to make a determination on prejudice, that is, whether or not the error was significant. So we'll be arguing that probably the end of summer.
Okay, and Alex, briefly, if you can tell me, do you think this will set a precedent for other cell phone-based, let's say, convictions maybe that were found to maybe have new trials for them?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is going to impact anybody who's in a similar situation, and I think it's a signal perhaps for other technology, not necessarily a precedent, but a little bit of a sign of what we might see in the years to come.
All right, Alex KREIT and Pat Ford, thank you very much.
Thanks, Peggy.
Thank you.